All right. Good morning, everybody. Freedom Team, it is good to see you. We'll just keep letting them in as they keep coming. It's great to have you here every Tuesday. Just a reminder, we are here. A couple things I want to share real fast. First of all, you're always welcome to invite people. There's guests in here all the time. So if you are a guest with us, welcome. We do this every week, every Tuesday morning, same time, same Zoom link. We will be back tomorrow as well, just for an open collaboration. We do that on Wednesdays. It's kind of like the water cooler, all of us standing around the office and what do you guys want to talk about? And we talk about anything and everything on there. So great to bring your questions, great to meet more people. Wednesdays have been awesome as well. We try and record those when we remember to do so. Sometimes we forget. But anyway, so one quick reminder, guys, we do have a new website. We're going to be talking about that in more detail here in the next couple of weeks. If you go to freedomteamsupport.com, I just want to give a plug for that. Andy Hollis put in over 100 hours to get that website up and running. I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. I've got to let some more people in here. Hold on a second. I want you to see this because everything is in here. Okay. If you go to this website, Sean, maybe you could share that in the chat if you don't mind. But right here on the front page, I do want to just highlight this real quick. Coming up here in just a couple months is our convention. If you've never been to one of our conventions, it is absolutely worth going to. All the Freedom Team leaders will be there. We're doing a special get together on the 21st that night for Freedom Team. We got guests coming in. We've invited Glenn and Leo. They might be coming in. We got Gene Frederick's going to come by. Some really big EXP agents that we're inviting who aren't part of our group, but they're all going to stop by. It'll be a great time down there. Okay, so if you go to the website, you can catch that right on the homepage here. But I would tell you guys, go in here and click around. Everything you need. What we've tried to do is just, our schedule's here. There's just all kinds of training and resources. You can get a link to all of the trainings right here. Team recorded training takes you to our YouTube channel. Everything is in there. Okay. So anyway, just wanted to plug this real quick. We're going to be diving in deeper on that site as we get going here the next couple of weeks. But really appreciate all the stuff that Andy did to get that going. So one of the things that we've tried to do, I've got about, oh my gosh, I got probably 20, 25 pages bookmarked, in my favorites for all the stuff that EXP is doing. And what we've done is we've put them all on that page. Everything is there. So every link that you need, and then we're just going to keep adding to that. We'll take off stuff that gets obsolete. We'll cut that out. But anyway, it's just kind of a one-stop shop for everything you need for your business.
Hey, Jeff, can I ask a question real quick?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Ted.
Concerning the homepage and the training that's available, you had that the KV Core, all that training that was available with KV Core. Now it's Bold Trail.
Yep.
Is that still relevant, or do we still pay into that program?
Yeah. So if you go right over here under resources, okay, and come down here to Freedom Team Agent Resources, and right down here, as you scroll down the page, right there is the link to the Bold Trail training. So it's still Anthony. It's still $20 a month. He charges $100 a month for everybody else, but all you guys with Freedom Team, you can register right there. It's $20.
All right, cool.
And great stuff for sure. So that's all right there. So just click around. You'll get familiar with it the more you use it. So guys, today we got Jason K coming in. Jason is a success coach, certified success coach, Success Magazine. A lot of us read that. We get it every month here. Been a realtor for a long, long time. Him and Trish up there in Boulder doing a lot of stuff. And anyway, Jason and I, we were talking here just a couple weeks ago. The big beautiful bill came out and got passed. That was big news here for several weeks. Still big news. But there's a lot of ways that's going to impact real estate agents, just things we need to be aware of, ways to talk to your clients and stuff like that. And we started talking about it, and Jason said, hey, let's do a training on it. So I said, great, Jason, you're the man. Come in and do that training for us. So anyway, I appreciate you coming in. I know you've dug into this thing a little bit, a lot of it with ChatGPT. There's a lot of ways to use that tool, to just get a lot of information. But, this is going to be kind of an open discussion. And Jason, I'll let you kind of share how you want to run this. But I appreciate you coming in, man. I know you're busy, so thanks for your time.
I appreciate it. First and foremost, I want to do a shout out to a guest who's here, Kat. You're the reason why we're doing this training today. So thank you very much for that and for the email. Really appreciate that, because if one person has the question, I know there's more than one out there. So what I'm doing here is not just going over the bill and how you could use it in real estate, but I want to train you and give you the formulas on how to talk to your sellers and your buyers and how to start conversations with things like this. So before I get going, yeah, I am a CE certified instructor here in Colorado. I am a success coach, been in the business for over a decade, master's from Columbia, 35 patents, and an engineer for 18 years. Now, why did I introduce myself that way? And by the way, unmute yourselves, everyone, because this class is going to be interactive. This will be a conversation. So why do you think I just threw that out there as a quick, brief intro and had Jeff start off that way?
Find credibility.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Engineering has absolutely nothing to do with what we're talking about, but I threw it out there because everyone's always impressed with it. And I'm like, yeah, but the guy who taught me has over 5,000 patents. I could teach each of you in about 10 minutes how to write a patent, but it's impressive and it lends credibility. So the question is, what can you pull from yourself, even as a brand new agent that's not in this industry, that lends you credibility? And that's what we're going to start with. So OBA or Triple B or the One Big Beautiful Bill Act or whatever you want to call this thing. Congress passed it, Trump signed it, and a bunch has changed in real estate. Who wants to guess what some of the key parts are? And there's a lot of stuff in this bill. I'm only going to hit some of the real estate pieces. Who wants to guess what some of the big pieces are?
Salt.
Some things. Go ahead.
The salt.
Yes. What is salt besides what you put on French fries?
It's what we get to write off on our Schedule A for our property taxes. And
Yes.
hopefully the interest changed too, but I don't know about that.
It did. Why do you want to talk to your clients about that? That's absolutely correct.
Well, because
That's
I'm in
fantastic.
Southern California. And
Got it.
Said,
Okay.
enough said, right? I mean, my
So
property
$10,000
taxes
to
alone are
$40,000
$20K.
is a big deal on writing off on
Oh,
your
heck yeah.
taxes. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever the taxes went down on, what I lost on Schedule A made my taxes higher. So
Yep.
thanks a lot. I love this. Oh, our taxes went down. Not on my papers, it didn't, So, yeah.
My mom's from northern New Jersey. She's in a very modest, small home, probably just over $500,000, 1,600 square feet, and her taxes are, I think, $14,000 or $15,000, which is what she bought the home for
Yeah.
back a bunch of years. So yeah, it's a big deal. So all right, taxes are down. What does this mean to people who are buying or selling? How would you use this as a conversation starter?
Well, for buying, their write-offs are so much better than they were
Yep.
because that's a big deal because some of these younger kids, if they're married, they're getting their double deduction, double standard already. What's that? $27,000 right there. So sometimes it's hard to prove that buying a house helps on your taxes. I mean, the equity thing
Yep.
is a no-brainer, but the taxes become a big speaking point, at least where I am.
Absolutely. It's part of the pity, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance.
Yeah.
That becomes part of that whole conversation on, can I afford this home? It's
Yep.
something as a real estate professional am comfortable dealing with and showing and talking about and asking the question, who is your lender? Let's have the conversation going, and then having that conversation with the lender. So this comes back to one of the key things. I am not a CPA. I am not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. I can't give or dispense tax advice, and neither should you. But it can be the beginning of a conversation where it's, hey, let's go talk to this professional. Does that make sense? Do you all see what I just did there? How this kind of works and where that fine line is that you really don't want to cross to get yourself in trouble, which is the cover of my book, Get Paid, Not Sued. You don't want to get sued. Yeah, it's here. It's free on Amazon if you have Kindle. Anyway, no, that's not the point of this. The whole point is, how do you give information and not cross the line? So we started about salt. Let's go deeper into that. So yeah, California, big state to have this conversation. The East Coast states, New York, New Jersey. New Jersey, I looked at the numbers because mom. And well, 40% of New Jerseyans are saving because of the salt. I'm in Colorado. It doesn't really affect me. So look up the states, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Illinois, definitely California. What other states are high tax states that you're working in or have clients that are coming from? I'm Colorado. Where do people come from in Colorado? California, New
California.
York, New Jersey, Seattle.
Yeah.
Knowing those are high tax states and we're lower, hey, that might dry up those sources. Or maybe, hey, now might be a good time to sell because you can get A, lower your taxes, but B, when you sell, people now can afford more. So, anyone have questions on how I'm taking this headline and basically turning it into a conversation with a client and potentially getting leads out of this? Anyone have suggestions on what to do? All right, I'm getting some reactions. This is cool. You're awake. I love it. All right. So, what's one of the key things about salts that we all need to know about if we're having these conversations? It goes away in 5 years.
What? Oh,
Hmm.
so
40
wait, the whole salt,
40,000
the whole salt disappears in 5 years and we go back to the way it used to be?
No, 40,000 rolls back to 10.
Fuck a duck.
That's the conversation
Oh,
There you
start.
go. It'll be on YouTube in a couple hours.
Yes, it will.
You put that.
Lynn, thank you. That was hysterical. I love that. All right. So
So it's only
now that
good
you
for
know it's
5
going away in
years.
5 years, what's the conversation you're going to have with people? Someone shout it out, please.
Dang, Sam.
Someone.
Better
Do it now.
Yeah.
There you
Go
go.
now.
Yeah.
Sense of urgency. You guys are getting it. I love it. It's early in California. It's a quarter after 8. But New York, New Jersey, East Coast people, come on, it's 11:15. All right, so moving on. So you know how this affects pity. You know how this buyers and sellers, you know it's going to go away. Now you know how it's going to help people short term and how it could help people long term in terms of moving and what things you can do. So beyond salt, we touched on a couple of things. Besides insurance being written off, PMI. So let's apply that formula that we just laid out. What does this mean to buyers and sellers? If
Wait,
you can
is
now
homeowner insurance going to be written off?
sorry, interest
Thank
and
you. That's like that would be really excited too, because mine's 10 grand. So, but
um, we'll hit on insurance in a second.
okay, so
But
interest.
PMI, mortgage insurance, and interest.
Well,
So
it's 750 or a million is your limit, and then it's different.
750, less than 20% down, 750. So that's your PMI.
Yeah.
So who does this help? Who do you want to talk to knowing this little nugget?
The higher income, the higher purchasing price people, because now they can write off more of their interest.
I would have gone for first time buyers and people with less going down because you're
Ability.
capped at 750.
Affordability, lower monthly payment.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So I love using this example because it just happened to me within the last month. My HVAC system is dying. It's getting replaced shortly. The guy who came over to quote is relatively new to the area, has a fiance, he's renting. So I went, hey, for ha-has, what's your rent right now? And he passed out a number, something like 2,800, 3,700. I'm thinking in the back of my head, let's see, the new construction in the area he lives is having sales. Interest rates are silly low. I've seen advertisements at 3.99. He got a quote of 3.125. I don't know how many points down or whatever, but you start running those numbers, and I guarantee he will spend less in new construction than in his current rental. That was a conversation. I'm not handling the deal. Someone on my team is, and ended up he had a real estate agent already that he signed a contract with. But that's a conversation starter. It was a 30-second conversation that led potentially to a piece of business. So you throw in the PMI, you throw in other deductions, and all of a sudden, these people might be saving real money and it might make sense for them to buy versus rent. So how else would you handle this? What about
Well-
clients who got priced out of the market? Can they all of a sudden come back and play and get back in?
On new construction, at least in this area, DR Horton has just announced a forgivable 3.5% second mortgage.
Wow.
Forgivable. So that's their
Wow.
down payment, and then they're gonna forgive it ultimately. I don't know the details beyond that.
All right. So again, same idea. What would you do with that information out there? I mean, that I would be calling my database. So what's the conversation you guys would have?
We just found your down payment.
Yeah.
Hey, wondering about the 0% down? I think we may have something for you. Give me a call. Let's see if this program will work for you.
Yeah.
You think your phone, I'm going to steal a Jeff line here. You think your phone will ring off the hook if you do that?
Market the heck out of that.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to market that, get that out. I'd be doing videos on social media. I'd be posting on social media. I'd be sending it out to people. All kinds of stuff you can do with that. Keep in mind, guys, and again, I've been preaching this and we've been talking about this, but again, anything you can do to market the payment versus the interest rate. Clients don't care about the interest rate. First time buyers don't care about, they think they do because that's the headlines. They care about the monthly payment. That's what they're making their decisions on. If they can afford it on a monthly basis and sometimes less than what they're paying for rent, they will become a prospect out there looking at homes and potentially a client. That's what will happen.
Think back to that HVAC guy. I didn't talk about interest rates. I didn't talk about a low interest rate. I didn't talk about forgivable loans. What did I say? Hey, I could probably get you into a new construction home that's less than your rent. Do you want to look at this? He wasn't even in the market. He was thinking he was 5 years out. That's the conversation starter where you all of a sudden can turn people in your database back into clients again. So here's another big one that I really like. So we talked about SALT, we talked about PMI. How many have heard about the quote Trump account? Basically tax-free savings for first-time buyers. All right, I'll give you the basis of it. You guys have to shout out how it affects pity and what they can do with it. All right. So here's the gist of it. If you have a child today, the government will give you $1,000 once, and you could put away up to $5,000 and have it grow interest-free until the child is 18. Now, kind of like the college thing, you can only use this for a first-time purchase of a residential real estate that will be your primary residence. So being the engineer, I'm going, okay, so 5 times 18, that's 90 grand plus the government, 91,000. Big deal. That's not going to really do much. But if you put it into, let's say, VOO, which is an S&P 500 mimicking fund, and it grows at what they say is 6% annually, which is about what it does over its lifetime. That 91,000 goes to 154,000. Actually, it's 154,525. Yes, I wrote it down for this. So 20% down, if that's your 20% down payment that you can all of a sudden use, that's just under 750. Take out some fees, let's call it a $700,000 home. How many of you think that a 22 or 23-year-old would be ecstatic on not having to rent and could buy a $700,000 home? Now, Southern California, I know that's not a big home. It's not a big home here in Magic Happy Boulderland, but you can get into a condo or a townhome and be quite happy.
Yeah.
So what's that conversation look like?
Yeah.
Toss it out there. What do you think it looks like, guys?
Yeah.
I see some of you taking notes. This is cool.
Well, how to set your child up for a new home in 20 years, 22 years. I don't know what the time frame is on it as to when they can pull it out, but the ability to get a new home, even here, I don't know what the prices are going to be, extrapolated out 20 some odd years. But here you can get with a good school area, you can get a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom with a garage for, 657, 700. That's a pretty smoking deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you could also not just aim I mean, obviously these clients aren't born yet. So what do? You aim it at the 20 somethings, the 30 somethings, the people with young children.
The newly
You throw
married.
it out there and hey, you might want to start saving this. It could go in your newsletter. It could go in a post. This again goes out to everything Jeff said about what's the avenues you disseminate this information because it's all about touches. Tina, go ahead. You have a question? Okay. So, are you seeing the formula here on how this kind of works? Now, same idea. You know, PMI gets reduced. That's part of your pity. So, first-time buyers, great. People who are lower income, great. People who are moving up can also take advantage of this. And let's look at the downside on this whole one for a second here. So, if you've got first-time buyers that can afford more, and all the boomers are now empty nesters and starting to downsize and looking for the same type of home that those first-time buyers are looking at.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to happen to the prices of those homes? Just ballpark.
They're going to go up.
Okay. How many of you have worked with investors? Either buy and rent, buy and hold, flip. All right. Do you think this might be a conversation for investors where you're saying, hey, listen, based on what I'm seeing here, I'm expecting these types of homes to appreciate even if the market doesn't. Is that something you might be interested in? And you started off with a conversation. Hey, boomers are looking at the same homes that first-time buyers are. First-time buyers have more cash and can now outpay the boomers. There's going to be a bidding war. What do you think is going to happen to these types of homes? Well, they're probably going to appreciate. Hey, do you want to invest in this class in this area? Now, there's a couple of key things that I just did here. And this is something that's a little bit more advanced. This is things I picked up in NLP or neuro-linguistic programming, which, by the way, I love this stuff. I've taken 3 classes, 4 classes on it. It's whenever it's available, I take a class on it. It's really cool stuff. Basically, you're talking to someone's subconscious, right? And when you're doing that, you're not really trying to program them to do anything. It's not mind control, but you're cutting through all the clutter and all the BS and basically getting down to the core of what do they want. Okay? Now, there's a couple things. You might have caught on what I'm doing by putting right and okay. Jeff does okay all the time. He probably doesn't even know he's doing it. It's hysterical.
Don't I say it way too much.
So it's called the tie down. And the great thing about doing it is it turns any statement into a question, right? So all of a sudden you're starting to answer it in your head. Yeah, that kind of makes sense. And it starts that whole conversation process going. So without turning this into a 1-hour NLP class, because, well, the last one I took was 18 hours, so it wouldn't be successful. But the whole point is you start asking questions that are either yes or no, right or wrong. This is what you want to do. And you don't want to ask questions necessarily that they're going to say no to, I don't want to do this. And if they do, hey, great, they're not a client right now. But you start asking the questions. Hey, what do you think is going to happen? I do this during buyer consults. I do it during listing presentations. It's called the consult because I never do the same thing twice. It's a question, they answer it, it might take me in a different direction. That's all this does is it starts the conversations, right? Now you're all going to start smiling when I say it. So do you see how this is part of that formula on getting the conversations going? Because that's all that you can do with the headlines. When this came out, Jeff sent it. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to copy this and send it out. We generally get no responses. We got like 3, 4 responses off the email. And whoa, one of them's even here. Thank you, Kat. So the whole point is, how do you start that conversation? How do you get this going? Do you see what I'm doing? And there is no one right way, by the way. All right, let's dive back into one big beautiful bill because there's some other really cool stuff here. Bonus depreciation. First of all, who knows what bonus depreciation is? All right, Trish, shout it out.
Okay.
You're muted. Oh, there
Yeah, I
you go.
know. I had to go find the button. Bonus depreciation is when you can write off a lot of the stuff inside of your property in the first year versus amortizing it over, what is it, 27 years?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge write-off. It's really, really cool for investors, and it had gone away. And so it's back.
All right, so you just hit on the next point, which is really cool. Who's this for? Investors.
How you doing?
Anyone who's renting a home as a landlord, single family, multifamily, threeplex, whatever. It could be a condo. It doesn't matter. Who wants to take a guess how you get this? Because this is the one thing most agents don't know.
It's a calc on the things that we get replaced earlier, cabinets,
Yep.
appliances, flooring,
You got it.
lighting, stuff like that. It's not the
Toilets.
sticks and the
Yeah.
stones that built the house. It's the interior guts of the house.
The roof, the siding, it all has a different schedule. And what gets done is you hire a company that does a cost segregation study. That's the key thing you need to write down. Cost seg.
Oh, excuse me.
Go ahead.
You're fine.
Oops.
Hey.
All right, I'll mute him right now.
No idea.
So, cost segregation. That's the key thing you guys need to know. You hire a company that does the cost seg study, and it gives you what you could write off as the bonus depreciation because it breaks out instead of taking the whole home and doing it a straight line depreciation over 27 years. You can now depreciate the cabinets, the flooring, the rug, the toilets, the roof, all at different rates for different amounts. And then since it's bonus depreciation, you get to take that all up front. What's the big drawback of taking all the depreciation up front?
When you sell it, you got to take it. You got to give it back.
That's right. So if you've got a $500,000 rental and you took $100,000 cost seg bonus depreciation up front, that means your basis for selling the home is not 500, but now 400. And if that $500,000 home is now selling at 600, that means you have a $200,000 gain that you have to deal with. And one of the ways on dealing with it is buying another property, doing a 1030 exchange and kicking it down the road and having a cost seg study to write off the appreciation. So how would you have this conversation with your investors? Because this is clearly given to investors.
Well, because if they can write this off, then their costs become lower.
Yep.
In their tax basis, which means that they're making more money on the rental.
Yep. Which also means you don't want to hold this for a long period of time. So all of a sudden your investors become my favorite type of investor. Repeat clients. Buy and sell every 3 to 4 years. By the way, this applies not only to rentals, but also to ADUs. If you rent a room, you could do this. My favorite is I live in a college town. What does that mean? 4 or 5 year cycle before the home flips again, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So
Coming in buying houses for their kids.
yeah, absolutely. So that's huge. So again, how would you have this conversation with your clients on it? Hey, you want to learn how to make more money on your rentals? Just a question.
Yeah.
So let's see. We are at the bottom of the hour, and I'm about halfway through my list of goodies. So business owner perks. I'm going to read this because I'm not an attorney or a CPA, and I want to make sure I get this right. Qualified business income deduction is now permanent. Section 179 business expense limit raised to 2.5 million. Who's this affect?
Bigger people.
I'll give you a hint. You're all sitting on the call right now. You all own businesses, even if it's filed through your own Social Security. So this is something you could reach out to other agents and talk about while you're having a deal with them, or after when you go meet for a cup of coffee or a margarita or a glass of wine, commiserating or congratulating how easy the deal was or wasn't. So what is this? What does it look like, and why do you guys care? Well, first of all, it affects your own personal taxes. So what this is for, agents, teams, small brokers, if you invest in anything, any type of capital equipment, and it flows through your own Social Security number when you file your taxes, basically you're a pass-through entity. That means you can now write this stuff off. You probably were already doing it, but you probably didn't know that your limit has been raised. It means you can go buy bigger things for your business. So how many of you drive a car to show a home? Only 2 of you? Okay, there are more hands. Right. So some of you either are not showing homes or you don't have a car. But what this means is you can write off part of your car or all of it, depending on how you bought it and how you titled it. Depends on your state. Talk to your CPA. Notice what I just did there. I don't know the answer for your own personal thing, but this is how you have the conversation starter. Now, this is just for you. This I wouldn't pass out to your clients, but this I would talk with other agents while you're just having a casual meeting with them. Hey, did you know? I just learned. Kind of cool stuff. Now, what does this work on? So just for you, so you know, it works for LLCs, S Corps, not C Corps, but only if those entities don't file their own taxes. So I'll give you an example. Here in Colorado, I get paid into an LLC, but my LLC files its taxes as an S Corp, so I can't take any of these deductions that are part of this. Does that make sense? Little tax law, I know, boring stuff, but hey, honestly, I find legislation boring. But there's some really cool stuff in here that can help a lot of people.
Jason, does any of this get backdated? Like if I haven't still filed my taxes for 24, can you take advantage of any of this going back last year?
I would stick that into AI, which is a lot smarter on reading the actual code and figuring it out. Some of this goes back to January of 2025 from what I've read. Some of it does not. So individual and state by state, I would check it out. I don't know. Good question, though. Now, by the way, I'm not an expert. What I did with this business qualified business income deduction, when I saw that, I'm like, I have no idea what it is or what the rules were. I literally copied it out of the article that I was reading it. Actually, I think that was in ChatGPT. Copied it out of ChatGPT, put it back in and went, what is this and how does it help me? And it spit out the answer. So y'all think I'm an expert in this, right? Yeah, no. ChatGPT is the expert in this. I literally plugged it in. I think I spent maybe an hour total for getting this class ready. Do you guys now see how you can become the expert in the eyes of your clients by just knowing a couple of facts? Things
Can I share something with that, Jason?
Go,
real quick,
please.
guys. I want to share my screen here because one of the things I just did, and this is something that we could all do, and you want to learn this stuff, but I just went while we were sitting here, and I just went here to ChatGPT. Trump passed the one big beautiful bill on July 4th. What do home sellers and home buyers need to know? How does this impact them? And of course, it spits out all this stuff. What buyers need to know, what sellers need to know. I'm just showing this if a lot of you are using ChatGPT, but just as an idea, down here. Then I went down here and I said, can you put this into a powerful email that I could send out to my database? Comes up with subject lines, the email body for home buyers, for home sellers, bottom line, click here to schedule a 15-minute call. I could put my calendar link in there, whatever. And then I asked it to do a Facebook post and an Instagram post. And of course it does it. Facebook post, Instagram post. Can you give me a script I can use to make a video for my YouTube channel? Here comes the YouTube script, right here. Here's the intro, whatever, all this stuff, how it can, save or make you thousands of dollars. Here's the kicker. Most people have no clue how it works. Let's fix that right now. Go into your video. Here's the script. There's so much you could do taking something like this, again, because people have no idea what's going on. I'll share this. I'll just put this in the chat so you guys could just take it, just as some ideas, because there's definitely ways to make this and turn this into, again, you become the expert. Credibility, what Jason did at the very beginning when he's introducing himself, it's that kind of stuff, but you become the expert because people have no clue what this is even doing.
How long did it take you to do that, Jeff?
2 minutes.
Okay.
I mean, I was just sitting here doing it in the last couple of minutes while I did it. And as you brought it up, I'm like, here, let me just share this, because ideas that you can use to, again, just get the word out there to people, and it leads to conversations. It opens that door, and that's what we want. You want conversations with potential clients, potential buyers and sellers. I'll put this into the chat here, so the link to that thread. Okay.
Cool. And I'll do the same with the chat that I've got going that I created for this class. But one thing with that video, I am awful at memorization. I have this program, let me back out of it, called Teleprompter.
Mm-hmm.
Cut, paste, drop it in. It prompts the video. It flows across. I read it. I don't have to memorize anything. It's timed. It puts a little date stamp on it. I cut off the date stamp inside of TikTok. Now I have a beautiful video that I've already added captions to in TikTok. Entire thing from the time I go to shoot the video, including getting the wireless mic, which is the biggest pain in the butt going, to the time that I'm posting is maybe 7 minutes, well inside 10 minutes. I know that because I had to get something done and I only had 10 minutes to do it. So literally cut, paste script, get it in. It's simple and it looks real and believable. I've done that for my Facebook ads that I'm running right now. I'm getting huge responses. So it's not difficult. It doesn't take huge amounts of time to do. You don't spend hours editing like I did my first couple of videos. You don't spend hours trying to write the scripts. You don't spend days trying to memorize them. This is a simple, easy, fast thing. That's the whole point of doing this. When I was seeing like a 6-year-old playing on TikTok, literally 6-year-old that was like up to my waist. She maybe weighed 40 pounds, it looked like soaking wet, waif-like thing, and she's just zipped out a video. And I'm like, all right, if this little girl can do it, I can figure it out. So it doesn't need to be perfect and polished. It doesn't even need to look good. So key takeaway there, just get it done. All right, getting back to this stuff. So we talked about business. Who knows what an opportunity zone is?
Isn't that an area maybe that receives special tax benefits?
Yep. That's exactly what it is. I didn't think there were any in Boulder, and I stuck it into ChatGPT and went, what's the nearest opportunity zone to me? And it listed 3 inside of city limits, which blew my mind. I'm like, what? Really? Did not know that. I learned that yesterday. That was the one thing well, not the one thing, but that was one of the things I learned new yesterday. So what would you use an opportunity zone for? Who would you go talk to about opportunity zones?
Investors.
Investors.
Yes.
Absolutely. So basically what this bill did is it extended opportunity zones, which basically offers capital gains breaks. Remember those people who are taking depreciation and need to defer capital gains? This might be a great way to do it. It also gives tax breaks. Well, tax breaks is part of PITI, so that's for anyone who needs to lower their total spend in order to afford a home, which might mean first-time buyers, might mean move-down buyers who are retired, might be move-up buyers who are looking to buy a bigger home than what they currently have, which means you now have a listing and a sale. You see how all of a sudden this just multiplied besides investors. By the way, you could plug this into ChatGPT and go, who should I target this message to? And it will tell you. Cool stuff? Maybe? Kinda? Okay. Excellent. Sweet. So what's an opportunity zone? We hit on that a little bit. For investors, major tax savings. and a way to kick the capital gains down the road. You can get some lower average property values typically in these zones. Typically, these zones are looking for appreciation, which is why they're created. So you might want to talk to an investor, hey, you might want to hold on to some of these things. It might grow over time. Again, these are just ideas for conversations. So what's happening here? What's actually going on? I'm going to go back to my notes because this I do not have memorized. So you can reinvest your capital gains into a qualified opportunity fund within 180 days after the sale of the property and defer the taxes until December 31st, 2026, or the sale of that property. What's that mean? You kick the can down the road a little bit. Gives you breathing room if you don't have cash right now. All right, what else is going on in here? Potential basis step up for early investors. Oh, okay. That means you owe less taxes. Step up basis is a wonderful thing for investors. That gets their attention because that means you buy it at 500, it goes to 600. Now your basis is 600 for your capital gains next year. Rough numbers I just made up, but you get the idea of what a step up basis means. Great conversation for investors. Zero tax on appreciation after holding for 10 years.
What?
Yeah. Massive long-term return on the upside. Decades tax-free. Those are headlines you can literally pump out to your investors. All right, what else do I have in my notes here? Because this was a good one for me. Strong long-term after-tax performance. So again, engineer, I like to throw out numbers to make it real to people because numbers tell a story and people love stories. Jeff says this over and over again. I love it. So example, $1 million capital gain reinvested. After 10 years in an opportunity zone, that investment nearly doubles. It's almost 1.92 million versus a non-opportunity zone of 1.49 million. That's a 30% bump after tax value. That's 50% difference on take home. Think that might grab someone's attention? Investor, maybe? These headlines literally are writing themselves. The emails write themselves. You can plug this into ChatGPT. And guys, if you're not using ChatGPT to help you write this stuff, you're missing out. I remember the first blog post I wrote. Man, that took me better part of a day. By the time I stopped writing blog posts, I'd rip them off in probably about half hour, 45 minutes. I'm doing the equivalent in minutes, 2, 3 minutes, maybe. Jeff should have showed us how. Literally, you all should be sending this out to your database. Hopefully it's segmented where you could tag investors. So, by the way, one big thing that OBA just did for this, opportunity zones are now permanent. Rural opportunity zones get enhanced incentives starting in 2027. So anything held out in what's called a rural opportunity zone that's held for 5+ years may get a 30% discount on capital gains. That's big.
Say that again, Jason.
Yes,
All right,
What you just said. Say that
I'm
again.
going to read this directly from my notes.
Okay.
So starting in 2027, any rural opportunity zone, and go plug it into ChatGPT where the nearest one is to you. Any rural investment held for 5+ years may qualify for a 30% discount on capital gains, on deferred gains. So again, not a CPA, not a tax advisor, but what happens if you have an investor who did a capital gains reduction or kick the can down the road with a cost seg study, took their bonus depreciation, have huge capital gains they need to deal with. Might this be a suggestion on a way to handle that huge nut they just created to get the big tax write-off in the previous year? Yeah, big stuff. Okay, so there's been a lot of talk, at least in my news feeds, about the low income expansion that came out in OBA. Anybody hear about any of this? No one. Okay, I guess it's just my news feed. I have a bizarre news feed. All right, so what is the low income housing deductions? This again could be targeted towards either people who are buying affordable housing or who are looking to build it, which are your investors. This one's going to be a long-term pipeline growth. So what is it? Reading my detailed notes here. As more, basically what they're trying to do is take all these deals that are starting to head south, all the apartment complexes and multifamilies that have hit the news, that are struggling, that are full, occupied, they're getting payments, but they're struggling to make their numbers. People can't sell them. These are typically traded every 3 to 5 years. We're at 3 year mark, and that market's completely dead. They're at less than 10% of what it was 3 years ago in terms of sales right now. So, yeah, this might get more into the commercial or the big boy investors, but what's it mean? And how's it help your clients? Well, as more of these trade up, what the government basically is doing is they're trying to ease supply pressure over time. They're trying to get greater development in underserved or transitional neighborhoods. Here's the key word that I put in my notes. This is listing opportunities. Okay, I saw some people perk up when I said that. What does a listing opportunity mean and how are you going to get it? Well, you start marketing out to people who own these properties. Do you see how this is now how you apply the same formula in a slightly different method? Okay, I'm seeing a couple of heads nodding. Cool. Excellent. Wow, I'm actually on time. How could that be?
Can
All
you
right,
elaborate more on that?
sure.
How we can market to them and
So there is a private bond, and I'm looking at my notes because I'm not going to remember this, and this is pretty new and detail oriented. So there's a lower bond financing threshold. So 4% of the low income housing deals. There's typically private bond activity requirement that drops permanently, where you used to need 50% private bonds, now dropping down to 25% of a project's land and building finances. So that means more deals are eligible for government financing. So it's becoming permanent starting in 2026 for affordable housing projects in the area. Now, the bond financing, in order to do that, literally just got cut in half. That means the amount of money these people need to go raise to do these projects is, instead of 50% of the total project, 25%. So I'll give you an example here in Boulder that I've seen. There was a parking lot in a strip mall with a small little interior mall that was inside of it. It was an awful little place. Hated going in there. The DMV was in there. It's been torn down. Yay, no more DMV. No, seriously. But they tore it down. Dick's Sporting Goods was there. How many remember Dick's going out of business?
Oh, not here.
Okay.
Okay.
While ago. It's now 3 stories, a couple hundred apartments that have gone in there. They're not yet open. They're starting pre-leasing.
Okay.
All right. So what does this mean? Well, some of these units are for sale. Some of them are low income. Who's struggling to find a home right now? Who in your database can you market to that is looking for an affordable house? Now, me, the way I market all the affordable housing here in Magic Happy Boulderland is very simple. Hey, tired of renting? Want to own? This is your transitional step to owning your home free and clear. What's the drawback here? Okay. Um, you're limited on what you can sell the home for. So if there's appreciation, you're not going to see it, but you can still sell the home and get all your rent back. Is that something you're interested in? That's literally the conversation I have with my clients who go, yeah, I qualify for affordable housing. 1 out of 10 go, what do you mean I can't sell it at market value? You know, those are the people that go, yeah, no, I'll just take the regular smaller apartment. Thank you. I'll buy that.
Mhm.
So do you see how all of a sudden you have something that's geared towards someone who's doing massive construction projects, all of a sudden can start affecting your database and helping your clients get into homes that couldn't get into homes before? Look around, see what sort of projects are in your neighborhood, plug it into ChatGPT. What sort of affordable housing projects are on the books or maybe starting? Because you can send it out as, hey, did you know these 3 projects are starting in this area or are under review? Are you interested? What's the key thing I just did in that email headline?
Hey, did you know? And are you interested?
Are you interested? It's the conversation starter. By the way, don't throw all these conversation ideas out at once. Trickle them out over time, create a calendar. This way you don't have to figure out what you're doing next week. You know, you could have the rest of the year set up on this stuff alone. Maybe you send out this stuff and then have other stuff interspersed between it. So I want to just keep going further ahead. There's a couple things here. Green credits. Those are going away, right? They're being sunsetted at the end of the year. Actually, they're being sunsetted at 2028. So what do you do with those? What's your headline?
Does that deal with solar? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, solar, EV chargers in the homes, all the what else? High efficiency HVAC systems. I'll give you a personal example. Hey, you thinking about replacing your HVAC system? Looking to see if you could save half off by doing it now versus waiting.
Mm.
So what's that mean? Well, if I got 3 quotes without tax credits, without the federal incentives, I was looking at between 20 to 35,000 to replace my HVAC system. I'm going to be paying closer to 10.
When is that going away, Jason?
It says 2028. It's being sunset. So it may start reducing.
Okay.
You could also flip it around and for your eco-conscious buyers and sellers, hey, do it now before it goes away.
Yeah.
So no more solar credits on houses.
Going away in 2028.
Wow, that's huge.
Could be changing based on changing administrations. Don't know what they're going to push through when the administration changes over next, but that's what it currently is. Hey, look, bonus depreciation ended and came back, so
Yeah.
you never know what's going to happen.
Well, I know here they've been talking about and maybe it's just the 30% solar tax credit is going away at the
Federal.
end of 2025, but maybe it's just that it's the 30% and then it's trickling down to next to nothing by
It's
2028.
sunsetting, meaning it's starting this year, end of this year, and then moving forward.
Got it.
So it's if you're going to do it now.
Yeah.
That's the conversation you're having with people. And if you want, I mean, we could easily have called this class conversation starters. How to use headlines in the world to start conversations with your database. Because conversations, once they're started, all of a sudden lead to, hey, I'm thinking about, or hey, what do you think of?
Mhm.
One of the highest sales I ever had with a client was, hey, we're thinking about, could you please take a look? Do you think we'll ever be able to sell the house after we? And the answer was no, you won't be able to. So they ended up selling their existing house the way it was and buying a new home. 2 largest sales I've ever had in my entire career, just from that one comment question. It was great. It was a good year. All right, moving on, because I have 5 minutes left and we've got questions and whatnot in here. So mortgage interest cap remains at 750. 1031 like-kind exchanges remain unchanged, which was a big question. So yay, investors. Here's one. I have an older parent, and I just dealt with this over the holiday weekend, 4th of July weekend. Estates. Real estate tax exemption rises to $15 million per person. So if any of you have older clients or are in the process of estate planning, this might be something to talk to your CPAs about. It might also be a good email or posting that you could throw out there.
Do you have a time frame on that? Is it going to end? Does it sunset?
I don't see it sunsetting in my notes.
Okay,
It's
great.
just a quick line item.
Okay.
Charitable deductions without itemizing has been revived. Although for real estate, that's probably not going to happen because you need to itemize in real estate typically. Again, not a CPA, check it out. But again, these are some little tidbits as we're winding down that you might just, oh, I can throw this out. So in the last couple of minutes, and I'm going to wrap up real quick. What are the big ones you throw out here? Yeah, I love the SALT.
Yeah.
Because even if you're not in a high tax state, your clients probably know someone who is.
Yeah.
First time buyers, people who don't have large down payments. You've got multiple headlines you can run there. You could hammer that one post a week for probably a month or two easily. Putting less than 20% down, you may qualify for PMI deduction. You may qualify for mortgage interest deduction. Let's run the numbers. That's a favorite one Jeff loves on tie downs. Let's run the numbers. So, your child qualifies for a new tax-free account you can use toward a first home. Want to learn more? Notice there's that question for the tie down. All right, we've got 2 minutes left. I can't believe I actually hit this on time. What questions do y'all have?
What ideas do you get? Any
Okay.
thoughts?
Yeah. I got to run. Hold on here.
So one of the things that happened, guys, I think the thing that prompted this a little bit, that bill was passed July 4th. That's when it all was signed and everything else. Big deal out of that. The next day, July 5th, I've got a newsletter that I put out to agents. There's about 3,300 agents that I send this newsletter out to. And it just kind of hit me like that was such big news. And I didn't know a whole lot about it. I haven't been paying all that much attention to it, but I put it into ChatGPT. By the way, Jason's ChatGPT, not ChatGTP.
Yeah, that's my racing background. Sorry.
That's okay. I'm sorry. Anyways. But no, so I put it in there just to see like, how does this affect real estate agents? What do real estate agents need to know about this? And it came out with all this stuff, whatever. And so I put it into a newsletter that I send out and had lots of responses on it, and so it just got me thinking like, okay, for all of us, this would be great for us to be able to know, but to start digging into this stuff, but also just ideas. When you see a headline like that, what is there something here that I should know for myself, for my business, define it for me, whatever, but also is this something I can use then to help me market my real estate business? How does this affect my clients? How does this affect potential home sellers, buyers, that kind of stuff? What do I need to know? Whatever. So there's ways to use some of this stuff. Number one, I think it's good to be on top of it. We're in this business. We're paid to give, we're paid to counsel. We're paid to advise. We're paid to solve problems for people. And so how do you take that now and turn that into something where you become an expert in some of these areas, or at least you start the conversation, and what could that lead to? How could this lead to, more business down the road as well? So there's lots to grab from something like this, just this idea, but good stuff to know. So anyway, Brandy is asking the capital gains info. Jace, okay, you put your ChatGPT, you put the whole
That's the whole link that I used to create this class.
Gotcha. There you go.
So it's in there. Ask it. And Kate, you asked about if something isn't in an opportunity zone and becomes one. I would do a search on it. I would call an attorney or something and figure it out. But that's by far the easiest way to do this. So again, not the expert here. There's other people who know more than me. I am not the smartest person in the computer world. So go tap into it.
Any other ideas, thoughts, questions, comments? Is this helpful? Thinking through some of this kind of stuff? Yeah?
Yeah, I think we need creative reasons for reaching out to our clients. This is a good one.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I need to run. I've got a 10 o'clock meeting I need to jump in on. And I want to thank you all for showing up. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out.